y'all, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a recommendations video. I'm going to do the prompts separately for middle grade March. The first prompt is a book with a title that has 5 or more words in the title. So that's what this is going to be. Books that I have read that have 5 or more words in the title. But first, this came today. They are doing middle grade March merch, and proceeds are going to charity, like I've mentioned. You can go to their, I'll list all 3 of their YouTube channels below, but this just came so fast. I ordered it on the afternoon of the 15th, and today is the, what is today? 19th? 18th? I don't know. Anyway, I'm very happy. It's blue. So to start with, I'm gonna have a stack of books that over the past couple months that I've read. So I'm not going to read the synopsis of these because I've read them and talked about them in recent reads videos. So I'm just going to show them to you because this is, I have like so many stacks, so this is already going to be a long video. So where I can shorten it up, I'm going to. The Circus at the End of the Sea by Lori R. Snyder. Absolutely love this book, of course. Ollie, Oxley, and the Ghost, The Search for Lost Gold by Lisa Schmid. Such a great ghost story, mystery, treasure hunt. The Misadventures of Nicholas Nabb by Jenny Moore. Such a great adventure, Victorian-like, and this would also work for orphan story, and this would also work for a story with an orphan character. The Very Dangerous Sisters of Indigo, McCloud by John Hearne. Very funny adventure, humorous Roald Dahl. It's compared to Roald Dahl in humor, so I really love that. The Peculiar Haunting of Thelma B by Erin Petti. And the sequel to this comes out later this year, and I'm very excited. Absolutely love this book. Illustrations. Kiki, Kallira Breaks a Kingdom by Sangu, Mandanna. I'm counting A as a word and like the, so I mean, whatever works. So read this recently, absolutely loved it. Rhea and the Blood of the Nectar, The Chronicles of Astranthia by Payal, Doshi. Such a good book, loved it. The Bookshop of Dust and Dreams by Mindy Thompson. Such a great book. Absolutely love this book so much. Such a good book. Maggie Blue and the Dark World by Anna Goodall. Love this book. Cannot wait for the sequel. Rise of the Dragon Moon by Gabrielle K. Byrne. Such an icy, cold, magical adventure. Dragons. Loved it. The Witch, the Sword, and the Cursed Knights by Alexandria Rogers. Phenomenal story. One of my top favorites. Just finished this one the other day. The Trouble with Good Ideas by Amanda Panich. Love this story. Important story, magical story. So many layers to this. Loved it. Lastly, and Tristan Strong is the name of the series, but I didn't do this with every series because Tristan Strong is always part of the title in each of the books. Like Myrtle Hardcastle isn't, so I didn't bring those. But this is Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. So Kwame Mbalia. A new top favorite series of all time. Love this whole trilogy. Can't recommend these enough. Okay, next I'm going to talk about ones that are the first in a series. Whether it's the first in a series of a trilogy or more, or it's the first of a duology. So, but I didn't want to bring all of those books down here. So these are just the first books, and they're the ones with the 5 or more in the title. Marvelous Adventures of Gwendolyn Gray by B.A. Williamson. Gwendolyn Gray faces an overwhelming battle every day, keeping her imagination under control. It's a struggle for a dreamer like Gwendolyn in a city of identical gray skyscrapers, clouds that never clear, and grown-ups who never understand. But when her daydreams come alive and run amok in the city, the struggle to control them becomes as real as the furry creatures infesting her bedroom. Worse yet, she's drawn the attention of the faceless gentlemen who want to preserve order in the city by erasing Gwendolyn and her troublesome creations. With the help of 2 explorers from another world, Gwendolyn escapes and finds herself in a land of clockwork inventions and colorful creations. Now Gwendolyn must harness her powers and with a gang of airship pirates stop the faceless gentleman from destroying the new world she loves and the home that never wanted her before every world becomes gray and dull. Such a good book. Love this. And there's a second book. I hope there'll be more, but so far there's 2 out. And since it's going to be so long already, I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to show you the book and read the synopsis. Just know I love all of these. Octavia Bloom and the Missing Key. And this is through the Fairy Door series. All the books are currently out right now. Estelle Grace Tudor. Almost 10-year-old Octavia Bloom is looking for adventure, but when it comes, it's in the shape of a tiny fairy door. Dragging her reluctant sister and cousins into the mystery, Octavia discovers her family are hiding not 1, but 2 life-changing secrets. Why is her mother searching for an elusive flower, and does she have what it takes to reunite her fractured family? Octavia's certainly answers lie behind the fairy door, if only she could just find the key. Such a heartwarming series. Absolutely love it. And then The Power of Poppy Pendle by Natasha Lowe. And all the books follow a different witch from this world, and they're all phenomenal. There's magic, witches, and baking, and food, and especially in this one. Poppy Pendle was born on the floor of Patisserie Marie Claire, the fancy French bakery in the little town of Potts Bottom. Though she was born into a long line of witches and inherited the gifts of famed great-grandmother Mabel, Poppy isn't interested. She wants to bake instead. Making yummy lemon cakes, buttery almond cookies, chocolate meltaways, and caramel crunch cookies is what makes Poppy happy. But Poppy's parents want her to follow in the family tradition. How can someone with Poppy's flying and spell skills not want to use them, they wonder. Poppy Pendle is puzzled, perplexed, perturbed. Poppy has a mind of her own, and her parents leave her no choice but to take matters into her own hands. Whose life is it anyway, Poppy thinks. Absolutely love this. Love Poppy. Theodora Hendricks and the Monstrous League of Monsters by Jordan Covey. And there's currently 2 books out, illustrated throughout. Monstrous League of Monsters Charter. 1. Keep monsters hidden from humans. 2. Protect humans from bad monsters. 3. Help bad monsters become good monsters. Orphaned and raised by an unconventional family, Theodora knows the importance of these rules more than most. And so far, it's not been too hard to keep her monstrous home life a secret. Until now. Someone is about to reveal everything, and it's up to Theodora to save her family fast. I love these books. Illustrations, the story, these characters. Just so good. And this was made into a Netflix film too. Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting by Joe Ballerini. And they're all naked hardbacks. Illustrated by Vivian Toe, who is a favorite. Some illustrations inside. It's not every day you learn monsters are real, but every day isn't Halloween. When first-time babysitter Kelly loses baby Jacob to the monsters who live under his bed, she discovers a secret society of babysitters who help her kick toady butt. Together, they have to rescue Jacob before his parents get home, or the boogeyman will bring his nightmares to life, all in a night's work. Such a great series, so much fun, lots of adventure, monsters, more. And Girl Giant and the Monkey King by Van Hall. There are currently 2 books out now. I'm going to be reading the sequel, actually, for middle grade March. 11-year-old Tom, is keeping a secret. She's strong, like super strong, freakishly strong, and it's making it impossible for her to fit in at her new middle school. After she accidentally releases the Monkey King, the legendary trickster god, from his 500-year-long prison sentence, Tom and the Monkey King strike a deal. If she helps him get back his magical staff, he'll take away her strength. Soon Tom is swept up in an ancient and fantastical world where demons, dragons, and jade princesses all actually exist. But she quickly discovers that magic can't cure everything, and dealing with the trickster god might be more trouble than it's worth. Such a good book. And this has illustrations throughout too. And then a duology, so there's one more book, but this is A Pocket Full of Murder by R.J. Anderson. In the spell-powered city of Terraton, the wealthy have all the magic they desire, while the working class can barely afford a simple spell to heat their homes. 12-year-old Elizabeth is poor, but she's also brave, loyal, and zealous in the pursuit of justice, which is lucky because her father has just been wrongfully arrested for murder. Elizabeth is determined to prove his innocence. Quiz, the eccentric eye-patch-wearing street boy who befriends her, swears he can't resist a good mystery. Together they set out to solve the magical murder of one of Tarleton's most influential citizens and to save Elizabeth's beloved father from execution. But each clue is more perplexing than the last. Was the victim really killed by common magic, the kind of crude, cheap spell that only an unschooled magician would use? Or was his death merely arranged to appear that way? And is Quiz truly helping Elizabeth out of friendship, or does he have hidden motives of his own? Love this duology. So good. Another duology, I guess. There's 2 books out. I thought there'd be more, but I haven't seen anything. This is Silver Petal and the Water Dragon Races by K.D. Holbrook. "13-year-old Silver Petal calls the desert home, but her heart belongs to the waters. Although she's expected to become a jeweler like her father, Silver harbors a secret and forbidden wish to race water dragons. Destiny comes calling when Silver's friendship with a mysterious old woman leads her to Hearne, a rare baby dragon who can swim and fly. Leaving their homes behind, Silver, her cousin Bajan, and Hearne set off to join the legendary races in the royal city. But the road to Kallira is filled with danger, and the trio must band together as they encounter ferocious cave beasts, clever desert foxes, and cutthroat competition. As Silver and Hearne soar through the skies and speed through the seas, both must learn what they're willing to sacrifice for a shot at glory." Such a great book. This dragon has my heart. Love both of them. "The Train to Impossible Places" by P.J. Bell. The U.S. edition. All the books are out for this one. This is the UK edition. All aboard for a magical journey. When Susie hears a strange rattling noise in the middle of the night, she creeps downstairs to find a train roaring through her house. But this is no ordinary train. This is the magical delivery express for the Union of Impossible Places. Whisked aboard by a Troy boy called Wilmot, Susie's world is turned upside down when she is given the job of delivering a cursed package to the fearsome sorceress, Lady Crepuscula. Except when the mysterious package begs not to be delivered, Susie discovers the fate of the Impossible Places might just be in her hands. Such a fun trilogy. Love this series. So much fun. "Emmy and the Incredible Shrinking Rat" by Lynn Janelle. And all the books in this trilogy are currently out. Emmy was a good girl. At least she tried very hard to be good. She did her homework without being told. She ate all her vegetables, even the slimy ones. And she never talked back to her nanny, Miss Barmy, although it was almost impossible to keep quiet some days. She really was a little too good, which was why she liked to sit by the rat. The rat was no good at all. It's a fun trilogy, very humorous. Loved it. Now we have the Kingdoms and Empires, or Empires and Kingdoms series by Jacqueline Moriarty. And the first book, definitely 5, this is a long title. The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Metalstone. Bronte Metalstone is 10 years old when a telegram announces that her parents have been killed by pirates. This does not bother her particularly. Her parents ran away to have adventures when she was a baby. She has been raised by her Aunt Isabel with assistance from the butler and has spent a pleasant childhood of afternoon teas and riding lessons. Now, however, her parents have left detailed instructions for Bronte in their will. Instructions that, annoyingly, have been reinforced with fairy cross-stitch, which means that if she doesn't succeed, terrible things could happen. She travels the kingdoms perfectly alone, delivering gifts to 10 other aunts, a farmer aunt who owns an orange orchard, a veterinarian aunt who specializes in dragon care, a pair of aunts who captain a cruise ship, and a former rock star aunt who is now the reigning monarch of a small kingdom. But as she travels from aunt to aunt, Bronte suspects there may be more to this journey than the simple delivery of treasure. My all-time favorite series. So good. First book is amazing. There's currently 2 books out in this series. The Stormwatch Diaries. And the first book is Legend of the Storm Caesar by Christiana Flavia. Illustrations throughout. 13-year-old Rose Schuyler sneezed a magical storm cloud at birth, and it's followed her around ever since. But when Stormy causes one too many public disasters, Rose is taken to Heartstone, an asylum for unstable magic. Its location? The heart of a haunted forest whose trees have mysteriously turned to stone. They say the ghosts are bound to the woods. Then why does Rose see them drifting outside the windows at night? And why is there a graveyard on the grounds filled with empty graves? Guided by her future selves via time-traveling letters, Rose and Merrick, best friend and potential figment of her imagination, must solve the mystery of the specters and the stone trees before the ghosts unleash a legendary enemy that will make their own spooks look like a couple of holy bed sheets and destroy Heartstone Asylum. Letters from the future are piling up. Rose can't save Heartstone herself. However, 5 of herself, a magical storm cloud, and a guardian angel who might very well be imaginary, now that's a silver lining. But will they find what killed the ghost before what killed the ghost finds them? One of my all-time favorites again. So good. Now the cream of the crop. The School for Good and Evil by Soman Shinani. My favorite series of all time. Just looking at it makes me want to read it again. Beginning of every chapter, there's some illustrations. This year, best friends Sophie and Agatha will discover what it is to be a student at the fabled School for Good and Evil, where ordinary boys and girls are trained to be fairy tale heroes and villains. With her pink dresses, glass slippers, and devotion to good deeds, Sophie knows she'll earn top marks at the school for good and graduate a storybook princess. Meanwhile, Agatha, with her shapeless black frocks, wicked pet cat, and dislike of nearly everyone, seems a natural fit for the school for evil. But when the two girls are swept into the endless woods, they find their fortunes reversed. Sophie's dumped in the school for evil to take uglification, death curses, and henchman training, while Agatha finds herself in the school for good among handsome princes and fair maidens in princess etiquette and animal communication. But what if the mistake is actually the first clue to discovering who Sophie and Agatha really are? So good. Okay, the rest are standalones, or if they are going to be a series, there's only one currently out. First we have The Scandalous Sisterhood of Prick Willow Place by Julie Berry. And if you like YA or adult, I'm not sure which one it is, she wrote The Lovely War. A lot of people seem to like that. And I have the US and the UK edition because they're both beautiful and it's a favorite book. The US was done by the Illustrator School for Good and Evil. And it's just stunning. And then there's this one. At Prick Willow Place, disgraceful Mary Jane, Smooth Kitty, and their fellow students are keeping a deadly secret. When the headmistress of St. Etheldred's School for Good Ladies drops dead at Sunday dinner, her 7 pupils agree on a clever scheme to bury their teacher in the vegetable garden, dress up stout Alice to pose in her place, and educate themselves. This is tricky enough in small Victorian community, but when the girls deduced that their teacher was poisoned, it was the veal. They realize there is also a murderer on the prowl. So Victorian, a boarding school. It's just the humor, all of it. All these girls, so good. And then Kelsey Murphy and the Academy for Unbreakable Arts by Erica Lewis. And this is the archive one. And I'm including this because it's not out while I'm filming this, but it comes out in March. I'll have to input what date because I don't remember. It comes out March 1st. That's perfect. Yay. But it's an all-time favorite, so I just highly recommend it. When Kelsey Murphy tests into the Academy for Unbreakable Arts, she learns that she's a Sega, one of the most ancient beings in the otherworld, and kin to its most famous traitor. But Kelsey is a survivor, and she'll do whatever it takes to find her place in the world, even if that means making a few enemies. This could count as an orphan story too. Highly recommend that when it comes out. It's so good. The Boy, the Boat, and the Beast by Samantha M. Clark. The boy woke up alone on the beach. Just the looming trees and wrenching tide for company. The boy woke up afraid, his memory gone. A thin path of sand, his only possibility. He would have to journey far to find answers, to find his home. But I knew when he discovered the truth, his fear would devour him. I watched and I waited. This is such a beautiful story, and the twist, and just everything it means, and symbolism, and such a good story. The Boy, the Wolf, and the Stars by Siobhan Plaza. Some say that long ago in the land of All, the sky was filled with stars. 12-year-old Bo knows the stories, but like most, thinks the stars and the wolf who ate them are just myths. No bedtime story can stop the ravenous shadow creatures from running rampant every night when it turns dark. Until the day Bo's guardian, Mads, is attacked by a giant wolf straight from the legends. With his dying breath, Mads tells Bo that a great evil has been awakened, giving the shadow creatures unprecedented power, and the only way to stop it from spreading is to return the stars to the sky. And so Bo, accompanied by his best friend, a fox named Nyx, a girl named Celine with surprising magical abilities, and Tam, a bird woman who has vowed to protect Bo at all costs, set off on a quest to find the 3 magic keys that will release the stars. But they're not the only ones after the stars, and the friends soon find themselves fleeing angry villagers, dangerous beasts, greedy merchants, and a vengeful wolf. And all the while, an evil witch lurks in the shadows. Such a great story. I love this so much. The Circus of Stolen Dreams by Lorelei Severn. After Andrea's brother Francis disappeared, her world turned upside down. So when she discovers a magical dream world called Reverie in the woods near home, Andrea jumps at the chance to escape her pain and go inside. But the cost of admission is high. Andrea must give up a memory in order to enter, and she knows exactly what memory she'll choose. Once inside, Andrea discovers tent after tent of dreams come alive. She can fly on a gust of wind, brave swashbuckling pirates in search for buried treasure, reach for and wish on a tangible star, and much, much more. But Andrea soon realizes that not all of Reverie's dreams are meant to delight, and the Sandman controlling the circus tent seems to have plans of his own. When Andrea finds a tent in which her brother's darkest nightmare has been brought to life, she realizes the ominous truth. Reverie is not an escape, it's a trap. Will Andrea and her new friend Penny have what it takes to find Francis, figure out what really is going on in Reverie, and break free from this sinister dream world? Such an interesting story, so imaginative. I absolutely loved it. Midnight at the Barclay Hotel by Flora Bradley. illustrations. Oh. When J.J. Jacobson convinced his mom to accept a surprise invitation to an all-expense-paid weekend getaway at the illustrious Barclay Hotel, he never imagined that he'd find himself in the midst of a murder mystery. He thought he was in for the run-of-the-mill weekend ghost hunting at the most haunted spot in town, but when he arrives at the Barclay Hotel and his mother is blamed for the hotel owner's death, he realizes his weekend is going to be anything but ordinary. Now, with the help of his new friends, Penny and Emma, JJ has to track down a killer, clear his mother's name, and maybe even meet a ghost or two along the way. Such a fun murder mystery story in a hotel, kind of like a Clue, I guess, and loved it. And the second best haunted hotel on Mercer Street by Corey Putman Oaks. This is a naked hardback. They're full of illustrations. 12-year-old Willow Ivan's family has run the Hotel Ivan for 400 years. Through thick and thin, they've held on tight to their title as the best haunted hotel on Mercer Street. That is until the Hauntery, a corporate chain of haunted hotels, moves in down the street. As the Ivan's business fades, so does their ghostly staff, and Willow begins to worry that the Ivan's days are numbered. Then Willow meets Evie, a hauntery ghost who's forced to play the part of spooky little girl even though she longs to be a terrifying phantasm. So when Willow offers her a job at the Ivan, Evie accepts, but she doesn't tell Willow that she's still working for the Ivan's competition for fear of losing her new job and friend. Together the girls come up with a plan to save the Ivan, but with the Ivan ghost already fading and Evie's secret threatening to come out, will it be too late? Such a fun story. Absolutely love this. So atmospheric. Loved it. And The Secret of Nightingale Wood by Lucy Strange. Loved everything I've read by her so far. I've read this and one other book, The Castle by the Sea. I don't know if I've read more. I have her other books, but I know I've read these two. 1919. Mama is ill. Father has taken a job abroad. Nanny Jane is too busy to pay any attention to Henrietta and the things she sees, or thinks she sees, in the shadows of their new home, Hope House. All alone with only stories for company, Henry discovers that Hope House is full of strange secrets. A forgotten attic, ghostly figures, mysterious firelight that flickers in the trees beyond the garden. One night she ventures into the darkness of Nightingale Wood. What she finds there will change her whole world. Such a phenomenal story. I absolutely love that. Miss Elliot's School for the Magically Minded by Sage Blackwood. At Miss Elliot's School for the Magical Maidens, girls train to become sorceresses by learning about spells, potions, wards, summonings, and most important, deportment. The city's people need sorceresses to protect them, but the magical maidens are taught to behave themselves so they don't frighten anyone. Chantel would much rather focus on her magic than her curtsying, and sometimes she just can't help but give people a look. Her attitude often gets her in trouble, especially with the headmistress, the terrifying Miss Ellicott. Then Miss Ellicott mysteriously vanishes, along with the other sorceresses in the city. Without any magic protecting the city, the fearsome marauders threaten the lives of everyone that Chantel cares about. And even though Chantel and her friends were once banned from practicing battle spells, it's now up to them to save the kingdom. As they embark on this dangerous journey, Chantel must cope with the crossbow-wielding boy, a dragon, and the patriarchs who want to control the new fiery magic that burns inside her. But can she find the sorceresses and transport lightning fast into the city it was meant to be? I love this story. It was so phenomenal. I recommend. The Girl and the Witch's Garden by Erin Bowman. Mallory Estate is the last place 12-year-old Piper Peavy wants to spend her summer vacation. That eating bell. Every time I hit my leg like this, I should have probably said something, or mess on my leg or get all shifty, it's because my leg or foot or both are falling asleep. Thought I would clarify that. Her grounds are always cold, the garden out back is dead, a mysterious group of children call the property home, and there's a rumor that Milena M. Mallory, the owner of the estate and Piper's wealthy grandmother, is a witch. But when Piper's father falls ill, Mallory Estate is exactly where Piper finds herself. The grand house and its garden hold many secrets, some of which may even help save her father, and Piper will need to believe in herself, her new friends, and magic if she wants to unlock them before it's too late. Such a magical story. I absolutely love this. It was very atmospheric. Loved it. School Between Winter and Fairyland by Heather Fawcett. 12-year-old Autumn McLeod is a servant at the Enchanted Inglenook School, where young magicians study to become the king's future monster hunters. Along with her grand and 3 too many older brothers, she works as a beastkeeper, tending to Inglenook's menagerie of terrifying monsters. But when she isn't mucking out the Hearne stalls or coaxing the resident Bogart to behave, Autumn searches for clues about her twin brother's mysterious disappearance. Everyone else thinks he was devoured by the feared hollow dragon, but Autumn is convinced she's heard and glimpsed him calling to her from within the castle walls. But who will believe a lowly servant? So when Kai Morgan, the chosen one, prophesies to one day destroy the hollow dragon, comes to her for help, Autumn agrees on one condition. Together they'll search for her brother and uncover the dark truth at the heart of the enchanting Eagle Nook School once and for all. Such a phenomenal story. I want it to be a series, but so good. I love this so much. And then the book that made me fall in love with Sarah Beth Durst, and then buy all of her books that are middle grade. The Girl Who Could Not Dream. Sophie's favorite place in the world is the hidden shop between her parents' bookstore, where dreams are bought and sold to select and secretive strangers. Sophie is fascinated by dreams, weird, scary, or magical, in part because she has never had a single one of her own. When the shop's dreams are stolen and her mother and father go mysteriously missing, Sophie must unravel the truth to save her parents. Together with her best friend, a wisecracking and fanatically loyal monster named Monster, she must decide who to trust with her family's carefully guarded secrets, who will help them and who will betray them. I loved her. I loved Monster. I love this story so much. It's so good. The 10 Riddles of R.C. Quicksmith by Loris Owen. I think this was supposed to be a series, but I haven't heard anything else about it. But I really hope so. When Kip Bramley receives a cryptic invitation delivered by a beetle-shaped drone that appears to be breathing, his world changes forever. Soon he finds himself chasing riddles and solving puzzles set 400 years earlier by a mysterious genius. Kip and his new friends must use their wits, teamwork, and new knowledge to find the Ark of Ideas, but dark forces are gathering. I absolutely love this. It was such a good book. Lots of puzzles, mysteries, riddles, school. The Peculiar Pegs of Riddling Woods by Samuel J. Halpin. Poppy and Erasmus are certain there's something peculiar going on in Suds, and they're determined to unravel its secrets. But when they discover the answers might lie in the dark and twisting woods, can they find the courage to creep inside and solve this riddling mystery? So dark, like a dark fairy tale. Love this. Highly recommend. Antigua de Fortune of the High Seas by Anna Rainbow and Ollie Hyatt. Antigua de Fortune has always had the ocean in her blood, but as the high-born daughter of an officer, she's expected to wear dresses, stay on land, and fear the sea. But then the Pirate King strikes, wielding his deadly turquoise magic, and kidnaps her beloved younger brother, along with every boy on the island. It's time for Antigua to take to the high seas to rescue the stolen boys of Haven. Such a magical adventure, mermaids, Pirate King, pirates. So good. Eleanor, Alice, and the Roosevelt Ghost by Diane K. Salerni. It's 1898 in New York City, and ghosts live among humans. Though most are harmless, some are capable of murder. After an unusual spirit takes up residence at the Roosevelt house, 13-year-old Eleanor and her cousin Alice grow suspicious. The girls don't get along, but they know something is not right. The ghost is more than a pesky nuisance. It's almost like he wants to scare the Roosevelts out of their home, and no one seems to care. Meanwhile, the girls discover a dangerous ghost in the house where Alice was born. Is someone else haunting the family? Introverted Eleanor and boisterous Alice develop an unlikely friendship as they explore their family's dark, complicated history. It's up to them to unearth buried secrets and destroy both ghosts. I flew through this. I was obsessed with this, in love with it. Such a great story. I really love this book. A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Albus. William, Edmund, and Anna aren't terribly upset by the death of their not-so-grandmotherly grandmother, who has taken care of them since their parents died. But the children do need a guardian, and in the dark days of World War II London, those are in short supply, especially if they hope to stay together. Could the mass wartime evacuation of children from London to the countryside be the answer? It's a preposterous plan, but off they go, keeping their predicament a secret and hoping to be placed in a temporary home that ends up lasting forever. Moving from one billet to another, the children suffer the cruel trickery of foster brothers, the cold realities of outdoor toilets, and the hollowness of empty stomachs. They find comfort in the village lending library, whose kind librarian, Nora Mueller, seems an excellent choice of billet. But except that her German husband's whereabouts are currently unknown, and some of the villagers consider her unsuitable. It's such a cozy, heartwarming. Cozy because of certain parts of it, not the whole story, but I just love this. And this would fit the book with an orphan character, because these kids are orphaned. How to Save a Queendom by Jessica Lawson. I've loved everything I've read by her so far. I've talked about this before. Life hasn't been kind to 12-year-old Stubb. Orphaned and left in the care of cruel matron Trot, Stubbs learned that the best way to keep the peace is just do as she's told. Her only friend is her pet chicken, Peck, and she's constantly bullied by the matron Trot's despicable son. Stubbs accepted the fact that her life just isn't made for adventure. Then she finds a tiny wizard in a pocket. Orlin is the royal wizard to Maradon's queen, and magically bound to Stubb. It's up to Stubb to ferry Orlin back to Maradon Cross, the country's capital, or else the delicate peace of the queendom will crumble under the power of an evil wizard queen. Suddenly, Stubbs' unexpected life is chock full of adventure, but how can one orphan girl possibly save the entire queendom? Love this story. It's such a great adventure, very magical, and again would work for the orphan character. The Castle of Tangled Magic by Sophie Anderson. This is my favorite book of hers. There's some illustrations inside. When 13-year-old Ollie steps through a magical doorway, she discovers another land, a land tangled by magic, where hope is lost and a scheming wizard holds all the power. Soon Ollie learns that she is destined to save this land, but with time running out and her new friends and family in danger, she must search for the magic within herself to save everything and everyone she loves. Another magical adventure, and I love the connection to the other books that we see. Loved it. And the Book of Fatal Errors by Doshi, and I actually won this. The sequel's coming out soon, and I actually got a notification the other day, or an email the other day from Goodreads saying I won it in a Goodreads giveaway, so I'm very excited. Rufus doesn't just make mistakes, he makes fatal errors. Shy and awkward, he feels trapped by his teasing classmates and their constant laughter. But now it's summer. Rufus is free. He roams the wild lands of his grandfather's mysterious property across town, blissfully unaware of the danger up ahead. And there is much danger. Rufus and his snooty cousin Abigail soon become entangled in the elusive world of the Failings, mischievous, immortal creatures desperate to find their way home. In helping the Failings, Rufus stumbles down a dark path brimming with age-old secrets and difficult truths. Any move he makes might be his final fatal error, or perhaps his most spectacular beginning. Such a great story. The Orphan Band of Springdale by Ann Nesbitt. Loved everything I've read by her. When she arrives at her grandmother's orphanage with little more than a French horn and all that's left of a broken wish, 11-year-old Augusta Nerbronner steps right in what her German-born father likes to call clear light of trouble. Papa is a fugitive from the law. Times are tough in New York for her mother to keep her, and the Second World War is already looming on the horizon. Augusta has to learn to bravely stand up to classmates suspicious of her un-American last name, to eye charts, and even the villainous owner of the local mill. When she stumbles onto family secrets, Augusta must try her best to put things right and to convince her grandma that music can be real as jam. Sometimes it takes a whole orphan band to help a girl find her voice and her place in the world. I love this book. It's such a good, heartwarming story. And another book by Ann Nesbitt, Daring Darlene, Queen of the Screen. Lights, camera, kidnapping? It's 1914 and 12-year-old Darlene has the most exciting job in the world. She gets to dangle from cliffs and stop moving trains and soar through the sky and runaway balloons. Yes, that's right. Darlene is a hero and a star in the make-believe world of the movies. With her worried papa, her studio, and the whole Darlene family all depending on her, Darlene has to make the world believe in her stunts and film tricks while trying to keep her own feet, as the family saying goes, firmly on the ground. But Darlene's fictional adventures collide with reality when a fake kidnapping intended as a publicity stunt become all too real. Now she is in the hands of the dastardly criminals who have just nabbed the famous young heiress, Miss Victorine Merriman. With their lives at stake, can Darlene become the daring heroine she's long pretended to be on film? Such an atmospheric, funny adventure. I just love her writing. She's just such a great author. The Magnificent Monsters of Cedar Street by Lauren Oliver. Cordelia Clay loves the work she and her father do together, saving and healing remarkable creatures. Their home on Cedar Street is secretly full to the brim with dragons, squelches, and diggles, and Cordelia loves every one of them. But others aren't welcoming to outsiders and immigrants, so how would the people of Boston react to creatures they label monsters? One morning, Cordelia awakens to discover that her father has disappeared, along with nearly all the monsters. With only a handful of clues and a cryptic note to guide her, Cordelia must set off to find out what happened to her father with the help of her new friend, Gregory, a baby dragon, and a small zombie puppy, that is. This is such a great adventure. So imaginative. Great characters. Loved it. Flights and Chimes in Mysterious Times by Emma Trelane. 10-year-old Jack Foster has stepped through a doorway into quite a different London. Londinium is a smoky, dark, and dangerous place, home to mischievous metal fairies and fearsome clockwork dragons that breathe scalding steam. The people wear goggles to protect their eyes, brass grill insets in their nostrils to filler the air, and mechanical limbs to replace missing ones. Over it all rules the lady, and the lady has demanded a new son, a perfect flesh and blood child. She has chosen Jack. His only hope of escape lies with a legendary clockwork bird. The gearwing grants wishes, or it did before it was broken, before it was killed. But some things don't stay dead forever. Such a great steampunk atmospheric story. Loved it. The Secrets of Star Whales by Rebecca Thorne. On the small space station Azora, Maxian Belmont is constantly torn between his two passions, engineering and music. Both are hobbies handed down from his father, who died 2 years ago. While his hider driver is great for repairing starship parts, his father's old string instrument tugs at the latent grief Max hides from his mom and classmates with each chord he strums. When a foreign starship appears on the horizon, Azora welcomes its first tourist in years. But there's something weird about Mr. Ham's stranger-turned-substitute teacher. He has no idea how to teach and keeps raving about the existence of alien creatures in the vacuum of space, star whales. As Max and the rest of Mr. Ham's class-turned-starship crew begin to uncover the mysteries of the star whales, they discover they aren't the only ones looking for the elusive creatures, and not every whaler has good intentions. I absolutely love this book. It was so good. Highly recommend it. The Valley of Lost Secrets by Leslie Parr. September 1939. When Jimmy is evacuated to a small village in Wales, it couldn't be more different from London. Green, quiet, and full of strangers, he instantly feels out of place. But then he finds a skull hidden in a tree, and suddenly the valley is more frightening than the war. Who can Jimmy trust? His brother's too little, his best friend has changed. Finding an ally and someone he never expects, they set out together to uncover the secrets that lie with the skull. What they discover will change Jimmy and the village forever. Loved it. A Peculiar Incident on Shady Street by Lindsay Curry. Tessa Woodward isn't exactly thrilled to move from her home in sunny Florida to rainy, cold Chicago. But homesickness turns to icy fear when unexplainable things start happening in her new house. Things like flickering lights, mysterious drawings appearing out of nowhere, and a crackling noise she can feel in her bones. Tessa realizes that someone, or something, is trying to communicate with her, and it involves a secret that's been shrouded in mystery for 100 years. With the help of 3 new friends, Tessa begins unraveling the mystery of what happened in the house on Shady Street, and more importantly, what it has to do with her. Such a great ghost mystery. I absolutely love this. Love her books. The Cavendish Home for Boys and Girls by Claire Legrand. Victoria cannot stand messes. She has perfect grades, perfect hair, and she always follows the rules. So she prizes even herself when she befriends Lawrence. Lawrence, who can't tuck his shirt in or comb his hair. Lawrence, who Victoria is determined to fix. With a little work, he can be as perfect as she is. But then Lawrence goes missing. When Victoria starts investigating, she soon realizes he's not the only kid who has disappeared. Lots of kids in Belleville have vanished, misfit kids to be exact, and all roads lead to the mysterious Cavendish Home for Boys and Girls. Kids who go there come out smarter, prettier, better, or they don't come out at all. It's up to Victoria to save her friend and her town, even if it means getting a little messy. This was so good. Very creepy, spooky, dark. I absolutely loved it. Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Austin. The US edition, the UK edition, which came with, I don't know if it'll show up, but like silvery glitter edges. Amari Peters knows 3 things. Her brother Quentin has gone missing. No one will talk about it. His mysterious job holds a clue. So when she's invited for a trial at the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, Amari is certain this is her chance to save him. But first she has to get her head around the new world of the Bureau, where mermaids, aliens, magicians are real, and her roommate is a were-dragon. Amari must compete for a spot against kids who've known this world their whole lives, and with an evil magician threatening the whole supernatural world, Amari has never felt more alone. But if she doesn't pass the 3 tryouts, she may never find out what happened to Quentin. To save her brother, Amari is going to have to fight harder for this than she ever has before. Such a great book. Can't wait for the next one. We have C.C. Rios and the Desert of Souls by Kallira Rivera. Living in the remote town of Tierra del Sol is dangerous, especially in the Kratura months, when powerful spirits break free from their home in Devil's Alley to threaten humankind. But Cecilia Rios has always believed that there was more to Kraturas who roam the desert, much to her family's disapproval. After all, it's common knowledge that only Brujas, humans who capture and control Kraturas, consort with the spirits, and brujeria, I think that's how you say it, is a terrible crime. When her older sister, Juana, is kidnapped by El Sombreron, a powerful dark Kratura, everyone in town believes she's lost forever. But Cece is determined to bring Juana back. To get into Devil's Alley, though, she'll have to become a Bruja herself, while hiding her quest from her parents, her town, and the other Brujas. Thankfully, the legendary Kratura Coyote has a soft spot for humans and agrees to help her on her journey. With him at her side, Cece sets out to reunite her family and maybe even change what it means to be a Bruja along the way. Phenomenal story. Phenomenal. Love it. Miswick School of Music Craft by Jessica Curry, and the second book comes out soon, I think in a couple months or so. There's illustrations. Amelia Jones has always dreamed of attending the Miswick School of Music Craft, where the world's most promising musicians learn to create magic. But when she messes up her audition, her dreams come to an abrupt and humiliating end, until the school agrees to give her a second chance. Amelia is determined to prove herself, vowing to do whatever it takes to become the perfect musician. even if it means pretending to be someone she isn't. Between a teacher who really dislikes her and a roommate who wants to see her expelled, life at Mistwick is harder than Amelia thought it would be. And that's not even counting the mysterious events that are starting to make the teachers worry. When supernatural powers threaten the school, can Amelia find the courage to be true to herself, save Mistwick, and prove once and for all she belongs? I absolutely love this story. So imaginative and just great. And lastly, Delphine and the Silver Needle by Alyssa Moon. And the next book comes out in a month or two. Left on the doorstep as a baby mouse, Delphine arrives at Cinderella's chateau with nothing more than a cloth she was swaddled in and a mysterious human sewing needle. Delphine believes dressmaking to be her destiny, spending every waking moment sewing. That is, when she's not doing chores or telling the nursery mice the myth of the threaded, the magical tailor mice who once protected the kingdom. So when Delphine is summoned to the castle to create a gown for the mouse princess, she cannot wait to get started. But the castle is not as perfect as it seems, especially since she has to deal with Alexander, the most irritating and pompous noble mouse in the royal court. Soon the two stumble upon an enormous secret linking Delphine's needle to the legendary threaded, and must embark on an epic quest to uncover truth about the past. Racing to stay ahead of King Midnight, the fearsome leader of the rats, bent on finding powerful magic, Delphine and Alexander find themselves on a perilous route, encountering strange enemies and unlikely allies along the way. Can Delphine save her kingdom, or will the evil King Midnight succeed in harnessing the power of the tailor mice? This made me want to read all the mice stories. This is so phenomenal. Cannot wait for the sequel. Alright, well, that's it. This is at 54 minutes, so hopefully I can edit it down quite a bit. Are you excited about Middle Grade March? Did you find any ideas that you didn't know about in this video? There's definitely plenty of options. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you would like to. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.